a dead car battery, not from age, not from a fault, from a slow invisible drain happening every single night while your car sits in the driveway. The same battery revival method used by professional mechanics and military vehicle technicians, done at home with a $2 solution from any hardware store. Mechanics charge $150 to replace a battery that was never actually dead. Dealerships run $200 diagnostics on a problem you can fix yourself in 20 minutes. They have been doing this for over 80 years because nobody ever told you that Epsom salt revives dead battery cells until now. This is the knowledge they buried inside the fine print. Welcome to Chemist Survival. This is where vaults get opened. If these stories matter to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon. This is where we open the vaults the industry locked shut forever. In 1935, a French electrical engineer named Gaston Planté was studying lead-acid battery degradation inside his workshop in Paris. He had noticed something that battery manufacturers refused to discuss publicly. Batteries were not dying from age alone. They were dying from a chemical process called sulfation. Lead sulfate crystals were slowly growing across the surface of the battery plates inside, blocking the chemical reaction, strangling the electrical output, killing the battery from the inside while the outside looked perfectly normal. Planté discovered that introducing magnesium sulfate into the battery electrolyte solution dissolved those lead sulfate crystals. The plates cleared. The chemical reaction resumed. The battery that appeared completely dead delivered full power again. He had just discovered the revival process that the entire battery replacement industry would spend decades trying to erase from public knowledge. Within years, military engineers during World War II were using magnesium sulfate treatments to revive field batteries on tanks, jeeps, and communication equipment when replacement parts were unavailable. The technique worked consistently. It saved equipment. It saved missions. After the war ended, the battery manufacturing industry made absolutely certain this knowledge never reached the average car owner. The science behind battery sulfation is surprisingly simple once someone explains it honestly. Inside every lead-acid car battery sit a series of lead plates submerged in electrolyte solution. And that solution is sulfuric acid mixed with distilled water. When your battery discharges electricity, a chemical reaction occurs between the lead plates and the sulfuric acid. Lead sulfate crystals form naturally on the plate surfaces as a byproduct of this reaction. Under normal conditions, those crystals dissolve back into the electrolyte when you recharge the battery. That is how a healthy battery works. Charge, discharge, crystals form, crystals dissolve, repeat. When a battery is exposed to extreme heat or cold repeatedly over time. Under these conditions, the lead sulfate crystals do not dissolve completely during recharging. They harden. They grow larger. They begin permanently coating the lead plate surfaces, blocking more and more of the active plate area from participating in the chemical reaction. Your holds less charge, starts slower, dies faster, until one morning it does not start at all. Mechanics call this a dead battery. Replace it for $150, they say. What they do not tell you is that in the majority of cases, the battery is not dead. It is sulfated. And magnesium sulfate dissolves lead sulfate crystals directly, cleaning the plate surfaces, restoring the area, returning the battery to functional condition for $2. Now for the numbers that the battery industry does not want on your screen. The global automotive battery replacement market generates over $40 billion every single year. In the United States alone, over 70 million car batteries are replaced annually according to data published by the Battery Council International. 70 million batteries, at an average replacement cost of $150 to $200 each. Industry analysts estimate that between 30% and 40% of all batteries replaced every year are not dead. They are sulfated, recoverable with a $2 treatment. That represents over 20 million unnecessary battery replacements every single year in the United States alone. Professional battery reconditioning machines sell for $300 to $800. They use pulse charging technology to break down sulfation, the same chemical breakdown that magnesium sulfate triggers for $2 in your driveway. 5 battery companies in the United States control over 60% of the replacement market. That is a business built entirely on information you were never supposed to receive. Here is exactly what you need to revive your car battery at home today. First, safety before everything. Car batteries contain sulfuric acid. Wear rubber gloves and safety glasses throughout this entire process. Work in an open ventilated space away from any open flame. Battery gases are flammable. Remove the battery from your vehicle carefully. Place it on a flat, stable surface in your work area. Inspect the battery case for any cracks or physical damage. If the case is cracked or swollen, the battery cannot be recovered and must be replaced safely. Do not proceed with a physically damaged battery. Next, locate the battery cell caps on the top surface. Most standard lead-acid batteries have 6 removable caps covering the individual cells. Use a flat screwdriver to carefully remove each cap. Set them aside in order. Look inside each cell. The electrolyte level should cover the lead plates completely. If any cell appears dry or very low, the plates have been exposed to air and heavy sulfation has occurred in those cells. Now prepare your Epsom salt solution. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. It is available at any pharmacy or hardware store for under $2 per bag. Heat 500 milliliters of distilled water until warm but not boiling. Add 4 tablespoons of Epsom salt to the warm distilled water. Stir slowly until the salt has completely dissolved. The solution will appear completely clear when ready. Using a small funnel or a syringe, add the Epsom salt solution slowly into each battery cell. Add enough solution to bring the electrolyte level just above the lead plates in every cell. Do not overfill. Replace all cell caps firmly after filling each one. Now connect your battery to a standard car battery charger. Set the charger to the slowest possible charge rate. Slow charging allows maximum time for the magnesium sulfate to interact with the hardened lead sulfate crystals on the plate surfaces. Charge the battery for a full 24 to 36 hours on slow charge. Do not rush this process. The longer the slow charge continues, the more sulfation the magnesium sulfate dissolves. After the full charge cycle is complete, remove the charger. Allow the battery to rest for 2 hours before testing. Test the battery voltage with a multimeter. A fully recovered battery will read between 12.6 and 12.8 volts at rest. Reinstall the battery in your vehicle. Attempt to start the engine. In the majority of sulfated batteries treated with this method, the engine will start normally and the battery will hold a full charge again. I need to be honest with you about one important limitation. Magnesium sulfate treatment works on sulfation damage. It does not repair batteries with physically damaged plates, cracked cases, or dead cells caused by manufacturing defects. If your battery tests below 10 volts after a full charge cycle, internal damage beyond sulfation has likely occurred and replacement is the correct decision. But for the average battery that simply will not hold a charge or struggles to start on cold mornings, this treatment is not just adequate, it is genuinely remarkable. Military engineers revived critical batteries with this method in active war zones in the 1940s. Battery manufacturers have charged $150 for unnecessary replacements every single year since. A $2 bag of Epsom salt from any pharmacy, warm distilled water, a slow charger, and 36 hours of patience. That is the complete formula they buried under 80 years of replacement culture. You just walked through those walls with a pharmacy receipt and a Sunday afternoon. If this video made a difference, subscribe and share it with someone who just paid $150 for a battery that never needed replacing. Every share preserves what the battery industry tried to keep buried. The next vault opens and what is inside costs even less.